to show you how to take measurements for your kameez. I have a sheet here with various kind of measurements which I'll go through step by step with you. I'm going to use this drawing to help demonstrate taking these measurements to you. I hope it's clear, and there's a few annotations around, but they're just like part of my coursework, so just ignore them. The first measurement that I'm going to take is the shoulder width, so that's shoulder to shoulder. That is done by measuring from each shoulder. So if you just feel your shoulder, you'll feel like a prominent bone, so that marks the beginning of your shoulder. So measure from the right shoulder to the left shoulder, preferably measure from the back because it's more accurate, so just measure across like that. That will give you your shoulder measurement. And again, if you do it from the back, it will be from about here to about here. That's shoulder width measurement. Mine is 15.5 inches. The next measurement that we need to take is the neck measurement. This is how wide and how low your neck is going to be. So if you look here, the way you do that is measure across, preferably from the back, so do it here. So measure where you want your neck to begin and end, how wide you want it to be. Now this varies between different people, but I tend to have like mine to be a couple of inches on either side of my neck. So measure across, that gives you your across measurement. For mine it is 8 inches. Also for the neck you need to do the diagonal measurement. That will give you the depth of the neck. Again, this varies between different people. The way you do this is measure from that point where your neck will begin, there, and measure diagonally across to how low you want your neck to be. So I don't like mine too low, so just generally in the middle. And so say if I wanted my neck to end about there, what I do is measure diagonally across like so. It doesn't matter what style of neck that you want, you make the same measurement, so whether it's round, square or whatever. So my measurement is 6.5 inches, as you can see there, and jot your measurement down. The next measurement that we're going to take is the armhole, and this is here. This is basically just measure where your shoulder is, just measure around your arm, right at the top of your arm, go around and move your arm around a bit, so that it's not too snug when it's been sewn and you can have a bit of room. My measurement was 17 inches, so that's the armhole. The next measurement that you need to take is the sleeve length. So that's basically how long you want your sleeve to be. With me, I'm thinking about doing mine around half, so about here. So to measure for that, what you need to do is measure from your shoulder, so that's from where your shoulder bone is, measure down to the point where you want your sleeve to end. Now if you want to have full sleeves, it's a bit different. Because you have your elbow there, you don't want it to be too snug, otherwise you won't be able to move your arm, and that's not really convenient. So what you need to do in that case is measure from your shoulder, and then measure to your elbow, and then flex your elbow. So measure the remaining arm with your elbow flex. That will give you extra fabric to move around in. So yeah. My measurement for sleeve length is 14 inches. The next measurement that we need to take is the arm round. So these are two measurements. Firstly, it's the that is going to be the arm round over here and arm round over here. The reason why we do this is some people, you generally have a bit more fat around this area of your arm. So what you need to do is measure around the biggest area of the bottom half of the arm. That will be the lower arm round here. So that is 10.5 inches for me. That's only really relevant if you're going to do full sleeves. And then what you need to do is the top arm round. For me that is 11.5 inches. That's done by measuring around this bit of the arm. So it's generally where your muscle is, and just do that while your elbow is flexed again so that you get the biggest measurement. After this you need to do the wrist round. So that again only applies if you're going to have full sleeve arms. So just measure around your wrist here. My wrist round is 8 inches, as you can see. Okay, now we're going to do a bit more of the complex measurements. We're going to start doing like the bust, waist, stomach and hips. So on your measurement sheet, I've written shoulder to and round. So basically what we're going to do is measure from the shoulder down to each of these areas and then around them. So okay, first one is shoulder to the bust. So measure from the middle of the shoulder here. I'll rub this out. Measure from the middle of the shoulder there to the bust, which is here. Again, I think it's better if you do this from the back. So I'll show you on this picture. So here's the shoulder. Measure down to where your bust is. So generally that should be here, there. That will give you your shoulder to bust measurement, and write that down. Then you need to do the shoulder to waist measurement, which is here. So that's your shoulder to waist. And then do your shoulder to stomach. So basically that is generally like where your stomach is. Most measurement videos don't really show this step because it's not, you don't really have to do it, but I like to do it because I like my kameez to sit properly, and I think it's better to work with what you have. So basically measure around the stomach. So measure from the shoulder to the stomach and jot that down. And then the next measurement that you need to do is shoulder to your hip. So hip is generally around there. So measure again from the back, measure from the shoulder to your hip. So that would, on this picture, probably be around there. So that will give you your shoulder to hip measurement. So just jot these measurements down. Mine's at 8.5, 13, 16 and 22. After you've done this, you need to measure around these areas. So it's best if you have like, try not to have too loose clothes on while you're doing this. Try to have quite a t-shirt on or something so you get an accurate measurement. So what you need to do is measure around the bust. So measure around, use measuring tape because it's the best. So measure around the bust area. You need to measure around the waist area, like all the way around. You need to measure around your stomach area, and you need to measure around your hip area. Now, like so, and my measurements are shown there. What I tend to do is I don't like my kameez to be too fitted, so I tend to have an inch extra than what my actual measurement is. So it's entirely up to you how loose or fitted you have it, so adjust your measurements according to that. Generally I advise you that you leave like half an inch extra. That way it won't be too fitted and you'll probably be okay with it. So those are your measurements for the main body. And the final measurement is the length of the kameez. So this is generally done from the shoulder again all the way down to where you want your kameez to end. I like to have mine just above the knee here. So my measurement is 36.5 inches. Now generally for most of the measurements, like I said, you don't want them to be too fitted and skin tight. So I say leave like half to 1 inch extra, actually half inch around the arms, etc. and sleeves, so you can move around in them. So I've done that here. So basically when you're measuring, measure how loose you want it to be, if you understand. So if my arm round was say was really like 9.5 inches and I wanted it to be loose. I used a tape measure to see how loose I want it to be, and I got 10.5 inches. So I hope that makes sense to you. I know I blabber on a bit. And here's just a shot of the final measurement sheet, which we'll be using to like cut and sew the kameez. So good luck with that.